It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. Niccolò Machiavelli. In the world of real power, rapport is not about being liked. It's about being remembered. It's about creating a sense of connection strong enough to bypass doubt and open doors. The Machiavellian doesn't just make friends, they create leverage. Now that you've mapped the room, it's time to engage. But engagement must be strategic. Let's start with the foundation, common ground. People don't connect with perfection, they connect with familiarity. The trick? Mirror, don't mimic. Align, don't pander. The Machiavellian observes first, then subtly introduces alignment. A shared hometown, a mutual contact, a passing reference to an interest they've mentioned. These aren't just talking points, they're social glue, but don't force it. Authenticity, even when strategic, must feel natural. If they love hiking and you hate the outdoors, don't fake it. Instead say, I've never been much of a hiker, but I've always been curious about the appeal. What draws you to it? This signals curiosity and creates a dynamic where they're the authority and you're engaged. People remember those who let them feel important. Here's where most people fail. They talk too much. The Machiavellian speaks less, but listens better. Use active listening techniques. Nod thoughtfully, repeat back key phrases, react to emotional cues. If they mention stress, ask about pressure. If they mention excitement, amplify it, but don't overdo it. Your goal isn't to become a therapist. It's to make the person feel seen quickly and efficiently. Empathy in this context isn't just kindness, it's tactical trust building. People open doors for those they believe understand them. Let's be clear, compliments are weapons. But like any weapon, they must be wielded carefully. Machiavellian flattery is not cheap. It's specific, timely, and subtle. Instead of, "You're amazing," say, "The way you framed that argument was incredibly sharp." You have a real gift for clarity under pressure. This kind of praise does two things. It validates their skill and highlights your own perception. You're not just another fan. You're an equal, one who sees what others miss. Avoid flattery that sounds rehearsed or transactional. Praise competence, not appearance. Influence, not effort. And always, always make it about them. But position yourself as someone they want in their circle. Rapport isn't an end, it's a gateway. It makes the next steps possible, gaining access, building alliances, and ultimately shaping outcomes. But remember, rapport without strategy is just small talk. The Machiavellian networker builds relationships that serve a purpose, mutual benefit, long-term leverage, or timely opportunities. You're no longer an outsider scanning the room. You're now inside the conversation, with influence growing behind every word. The wise man does at once what the fool does, finally. Niccolò Machiavelli. At this stage, you've moved from observer to participant, but rapport alone doesn't build empires. Strategy does. Networking is not just about collecting names. It's about creating systems of value, loyalty, and influence. This is where Machiavellian networking diverges from the everyday. It's not about being liked, it's about being necessary. The rookie mistake, asking before giving. The strategic move, position yourself as valuable before you ever make a request. This doesn't mean giving away your time or skills for free. It means identifying what they need and subtly aligning yourself as the solution. Maybe you introduce them to someone useful. Maybe you offer insight into a challenge they're facing. Maybe you help elevate their visibility in a way that seems organic. The key? Make it feel like a gift, not a transaction. Machiavellians don't beg. They create gravity, making others want to pull them closer. Build genuine connections based on mutual benefit. Yes, genuine and Machiavellian can coexist. Because power that's built on illusion crumbles fast. Real connections when forged with intent, become power multipliers. Ask yourself, what can this person truly gain from knowing me? What do I gain by staying in their orbit? Not every relationship needs to be transactional, but every relationship should be intentional. Even the seemingly casual interactions, small talk at a party, a DM on LinkedIn, are investments. They either compound or evaporate. Choose carefully. Now we arrive at the pivot point, using the network you've built. But the Machiavellian doesn't burn bridges. They reinforce them before they walk across. Requests for introductions, favors, or opportunities must be framed with tact. Instead of, "Can you help me get in the door?" say, "If there's ever an opportunity where I can contribute, I'd love to collaborate." This shifts you from a burden to a resource. People don't mind opening doors for allies. They avoid opening them for opportunists. Here's the real trick. Once you help someone rise, they feel indebted. And those debts, when managed wisely, become your long-term currency. The Machiavellian doesn't just network for today. They plant seeds for years. Your network should not be linear. It should be a web. Think beyond industries and roles. Connect across levels, functions, and verticals. The executive, the assistant, the intern with a future. All are pieces of a larger ecosystem. You're not just building a list of names. You're engineering a landscape of influence, one that spans across events, cities, and industries. And in that web, you are the spider. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. Niccolò Machiavellian. The theater of networking, perception is reality. And the most powerful person in the room is rarely the one who talks the loudest. It's the one whose story is repeated when they're gone. This is the next stage of Machiavellian mastery, not just playing the game, but shaping the narrative. Your story, your brand, your legend. People don't remember resumes, they remember arcs. They remember the struggle, the transformation, the quiet confidence behind the success. So what's your story? A well-crafted personal narrative positions you as three things: capable, you've done things that matter; relatable, you've overcome something human; aspirational, you're going somewhere others want to follow. Example: I used to feel invisible in the room. I realized the problem wasn't my ideas, it was my delivery. So I studied communication like a science. Now I train others to lead with presence. This isn't just backstory, it's ammunition. And every time you tell it, subtly or boldly, you reinforce your image. Here's the truth: if you're not controlling your online narrative, someone else is. Or worse, no one is. But a Machiavellian doesn't chase clout. They curate presence. Your social platforms aren't for vanity. They're tools to shape perception. Post with intention. Align every caption, image, and comment with your positioning. Are you the quiet expert, the industry rebel, the connector? Make it consistent. When people Google your name, and they will, what they find should confirm the story you've been telling all along. Social media is not just where influence is displayed. It's where it's manufactured. In networking, secrets are power, but rumors are currency. Learn to feed the right ones. Machiavellians manage their visibility like a chessboard. Sometimes you're center stage. Other times you disappear, just long enough to create curiosity. You don't overshare. You underplay. Then let others fill in the blanks. When someone asks, "What exactly do you do?" respond with intrigue. "I build systems most people don't know they need until they meet me." This isn't about being mysterious for the sake of it. It's about making others want to understand you, and in the process, value you more. Always remember, in any social game, the person who controls the narrative controls the outcome. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. Niccolò Machiavelli. In the theater of networking, perception is reality, and the most powerful person in the room is rarely the one who talks the loudest. It's the one whose story is repeated when they're gone. This is the next stage of Machiavellian mastery, not just playing the game, but shaping the narrative, your story, your brand, your legend. People don't remember resumes, they remember arcs. They remember the struggle, the transformation, the quiet confidence behind the success. So what's your story? A well-crafted personal narrative positions you as three things: capable, you've done things that matter; relatable, you've overcome something human; aspirational, you're going somewhere others want to follow. Example: I used to feel invisible in the room. I realized the problem wasn't my ideas, it was my delivery, so I studied communication like a science. Now I train others to lead with presence. This isn't just backstory, it's ammunition. And every time you tell it, subtly or boldly, you reinforce your image. Here's the truth: if you're not controlling your online narrative, someone else is, or worse, no one is. But a Machiavellian doesn't chase clout, they curate. Your presence, your social platforms aren't for vanity, they're tools to shape perception. Post with intention. Align every caption, image and comment with your positioning. Are you the quiet expert, the industry rebel, the connector? Make it consistent. When people Google your name, and they will, what they find should confirm the story you've been telling all along. Social media is not just where influence is displayed, it's where it's manufactured. In networking, secrets are power, but rumors are currency. Learn to feed the right ones. Machiavellians manage their visibility like a chessboard. Sometimes you're center stage, other times you disappear, just long enough to create curiosity. You don't overshare, you underplay. Then let others fill in the blanks. When someone asks, "What exactly do you do?" respond with intrigue. I build systems most people don't know they need until they meet me. This isn't about being mysterious for the sake of it. It's about making others want to understand you, and in the process, value you more. Always remember, in any social game, the person who controls the narrative controls the outcome. Men should be either treated generously or destroyed because they take revenge for slight injuries. For heavy ones, they cannot. Niccolò Machiavelli. Most people obsess over the introduction, the handshake, the icebreaker, the pitch, but few understand that the real impact is made in the exit. In the Machiavellian approach to networking, how you leave a room is more important than how you entered it, because the exit is where anticipation is born. Don't end conversations abruptly, end them intentionally, and leave behind a spark. It could be a provocative comment. That's a fascinating idea. I'd love to hear your take on how that plays out in practice. Let's pick this up over coffee, or a tease of your value. There's actually a method I've used to solve that exact issue. Remind me to show you sometime. This creates what psychologists call an open loop, an unresolved curiosity, and people remember the unresolved. When you leave a room or a conversation, your goal isn't to conclude. It's to echo. The Machiavellian doesn't disappear. They linger strategically, send a follow-up message, reference a part of your conversation that mattered to them, forward an article, a resource, or an intro that's relevant, not random. This is how seeds grow. This is how names become fixtures. But be careful, never overstep. Don't force the relationship to progress faster than its context allows. Give them space. Then reappear with precision. Your value increases in your absence if you left enough of it behind. Here's the truth few will tell you. Networking is a living skill. It evolves, and so must you. Every person you meet, every room you enter, every message you send, it's all data. Analyze what works, what opens people up, what creates lasting impressions. Sharpen your tone, adjust your timing, upgrade your narrative. The Machiavellian is not a manipulator for manipulation's sake. They are a strategist, a student of human behavior, a master of presence, and they never stop learning. So, here we are. You've moved from the awkward observer to the calculating force behind the scenes. You've learned to see beyond the surface, build meaningful leverage, and craft a narrative so compelling that people talk about you when you're not even in the room. That's the Machiavellian way of networking, not deceitful, not evil, strategic, intentional, relentless, because in the end, power belongs to those who understand the game and have the discipline to play it better than anyone else.